Hello, folks, and welcome to Got Your Back post-game live stream edition. Ryan Rishaug here. We're going to be joining Jason Strudwick in just a moment. Oilers, solid 6-2 win against the Anaheim Ducks. Listen, that's a team they have to beat, right? We all know that. But you still got to go in there, and you still got to take care of your business. And the Oilers went in there, and they took care of their business on this night. So Oiler fan can feel good about the fact that they didn't even leave this one to chance. Struds and I are going to break it all down. Got Your Back, of course, brought to you by Mr. Dirk, located just off White Avenue and 102nd Street. Mr. Dirk, your one-stop shop for all your clothing needs. If you're a businessman looking to sharpen things up at your next meeting, if you want to just show everybody that you're on your game, give Mr. Dirk a call. Go stop by. Check out their website. They got everything that you need, whether it's business wear, whether it's casual. If you want to up your game, they are the ones that can help you do just that. Go see Sterling, Dan. They got a great crew down there. My cousin Steve actually just reached out the other day asking for their number. So Sterling, Dan, cousin Steve is coming your way. Coat size might be a little bigger than mine, though. Maybe. All right, time to check in with the man, Jason Strudwick. Struddy, how you doing, my friend?
I'm good. How are you making out?
I'm good. Does everything look normal to you right there? I was having a few technical glitches here, but what do you see? Are you seeing me? You hearing me? We're good?
Both. Yeah, check. Yes to both.
Could you hear that music, by the way?
I can hear it, yeah. I thought that's just your...
It's weird.
Like we're in an elevator.
It wasn't... Come on. You don't like our theme music?
Oh, I do. No, I thought you meant just keep coming. You just keep playing it.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I started playing it, but it wasn't registering at audio level, so I have no idea if people on the stream could actually hear hear the music or not. So I just kind of went with it. I went with it and started talking. We're gonna get to the game in a minute. First, what was up with you today? Getting all lippy with Jesse Puljujarvi on Twitter there, hey? Like, that was a stiff shot you fired at the guy day after he gets into a scrap.
I thought it was pretty funny, and maybe I guess and listen, I've supported Puljujarvi through many things, and I do believe I've been a pretty clear how I feel about him. But the reality is,
couldn't resist a good line.
I couldn't help myself. Sometimes the jokes write themselves. What am I supposed to do? I'm just supposed to sit on it. So I saw it. So one of the guys from Oilers Nation tweeted out that Puljujarvi has the most fights for the Oilers this year.
Right.
And I'm like, oh my God, don't do it. Don't
put your
answer
phone down.
I'm like, I have to.
Just put your phone down.
I have to. I couldn't help myself. So before I stepped on the ice for one of my afternoon sessions at an academy, I typed out, is that versus players or the puck? And oh my God, for the most part, people I think got it. It was pretty funny. Then there was some staunch Puljujarvi supporters.
I almost want to hop into those mentions. I got to go take a look at this and see what this looks like. How was the reaction?
It was, what I think most people understood. I thought it was funny, obviously. And I couldn't help myself. I literally couldn't help myself. It's like there's a bag of chips that is half open. I got to bury it. I got to bury those things. I can't help myself. I try not to. I try to not be that guy on Twitter to answer. And sometimes
No, you are that guy.
Can't help.
You don't say you try not to.
I can't help.
You are that guy. You are that guy.
So anyways, it was funny. So it was for the most part, I think people understood the intent. A couple people were pretty upset.
Okay. I'm not even going to read the previous tweets because I don't even know what might be there, but I just looked at your mentions and replies and stuff. And one of them says, some pretty serious accusations you are making, and you are on tilt. So this is where I sign off. Struds, when you have to tweet something like that, you've taken it too far. You've engaged too far. Do I even want to look into what was said here to elicit that tweet from you?
That particular tweeter, and I think we found some common ground at
You know what's funny? I can't even read his tweets. You know why? Because I've got them blocked.
Yeah.
Whoever this is, I've got them blocked. I can't even read what the interaction was.
Yeah, I'll never block anyone. I'll never give anyone the satisfaction.
See, we're in a different headspace on that, you and I, this blocking thing.
Yeah. But anyways, I thought I'm sorry if I offended. Actually, I'm not even sorry if I offended anyone. It was sometimes you just have to put the joke out there. It was I thought if I saw that, I would have spit my drink out. I would have laughed so hard. So
It was good.
because
It
it
was a
is
decent
funny.
line.
It is really funny. It's witty.
We're live streaming tonight's pod, so we're gonna try and get to as many mentions as we can because we really appreciate people hopping on. So by all means, let us know what you thought of Struddy's joke.
Oh boy!
And the Weiss Johnson Twitter mentions Redbeard941 says it was gold. I'm going to assume he's talking about your joke, so we'll give you the credit for that one.
Thank you.
Tyler Mulick says we heard it. I think he's talking about the music there, so glad that technically I was keeping her tight. And we already have, hang on, from Stony Oil, we already have our first Jake Chikrin reply.
Oh,
so
geez.
we'll maybe we'll get to that in a few minutes, Stony Oil, but we appreciate you chiming in there. Okay, listen, let's get to the game tonight, and that means the breakdown brought to you by DLR Vinyl Products. They supply some of the nicest maintenance-free fencing and decking products out there. If you've always had that wood fence in your backyard and you know you're going to be in trouble when the snow melts, you'll have some staining and some sanding ahead of you over and over and over the next 10 years. Well, I'll make the maintenance-free choice. Go with DLR Vinyl Products. You put it in once, and then you leave it. You just leave it. Mm-hmm. You don't have to stain and sand and do all that crappy work. It goes in. It stays high-end. I've got it in my backyard. I love it. It's my brother's company. Rick runs the branch here in Edmonton, and Rob runs the one out in Calgary. So give them a shout. DLR Vinyl. DLRvinyl.ca is their website. Okay, let's get to the game tonight. Struds, in the opening, I said everybody knew they needed to win this game, especially what happened the other night. But at the end of the day, you still have to put your skates on, and you still have to go out there in the right headspace, and you still have to execute. And I was really interested to see what the Oilers were going to bring tonight. I was really interested to see, are they even going to let this get close? Or are they going to be a mature team that takes care of their business? And I thought they were a pretty mature team and took care of their business early on.
Start right off the start, you could tell I was like, okay, they got it going on tonight. I thought everyone was skating. The forecheck was going well. I really like this game today. Now, again, we got to consider the opponent. That looks like an opponent that feels like there's 5 games left in the year. I've been on those teams before, and I know the look, the 1,000-mile stare. You're just like, is it over yet? What, we have to do this 39 more times or whatever they got left? Like, it is crazy. So, but that's for someone who runs a Ducks podcast. I think the Oilers came out and did what they needed to do. The lines were shifted up a little bit. I kind of like the way they were set up. I know that you are gonna definitely let me know about your boy Holloway. He was on the top line and how he scored right away.
What are you talking about? There's no. I'm not an I told you so guy. I wouldn't do that.
But no, you know what? I thought overall. I thought it really played out just the way you'd anticipate. And now they have to double down and do the same thing on what day is it? Friday.
Yeah, Friday.
Friday.
By the way, great story in Vincent Desharnais making his NHL debut tonight. And we are actually going to go a little bit more in depth on his game. That'll be coming up in our takeaway segment in a few minutes. So we're not ignoring a great storyline in Desharnais jumping into the lineup tonight and making his NHL debut. We're just going to dedicate a shorter segment to that coming up in a few minutes. Okay, where do you want to go here? Specifics. Let's dig in on some specifics. Klim Kostin. He's on a nice little run here, Struds, where I think he is. We can talk about his night to night, but I think in the bigger picture, he is tempting his coach to continue to give him more and more important opportunity. And he's found money for this team. Like with the style that he plays and what they need, he has found money, and credit to the Oilers and the pro scouting staff for finding this guy and making this deal. He's moving the dial.
Yeah, he is exactly what they need. And the 2 goals he scored tonight, I want to get into them. They were goal scorers' goals.
I agree.
Those weren't luck. Those were goal scorers' goals, right? Like, maybe the one point, like Nugent Hopkins, that was luck. And that's not to take away from Nugent Hopkins' 20th goal, but the goal that he scored, that was a sniper's goal. And I loved it. I thought it was great. The 5-hole, then later the quick shot, perfection.
The thing I liked about his second one is you talk about it being a goal scorer's goal. So he's kind of standing net front, but as the puck moves down the wall and around into the corner, he does that subtle shift where he pivots and turns and presents himself to take the pass. And he did it with the mentality of a goal scorer. they hit those open spaces and they see what's about to happen and they get to the space before the pass is even there. He was a first round pick, right? There's a reason why he was a first round pick. And no, his NHL career hasn't gone the way that, to this point he would like, but there is pedigree and there's skill there, and the Oilers are really benefiting. And then there's the physical end of it. I don't know, is it just me, or did you see the one time where he was just like kind of right cocky, rolling through the Ducks crease like a guy who did pretty good in a scrap last night and was just sort of looking around like, he just seemed to have a little swagger in the blue paint tonight after his Tilly last game.
He did, but a big guy like that, when you're scoring, you're feeling good about yourself. That's really important, and it brings swagger to your game. And I think it brings swagger to that line. Like they kind of got into a little dust up at the end. Janmark and I think Koskinen was in there as well. I like that. Like I like that. Like we're here to party. We don't really care what you're doing. We're here to party. But when you look at what right now, whether it's Fogle, let's just group the group that's in with Kostin. Let's put the Fogle, McLeod, Puljujarvi. I think you put maybe Derek Ryan in that group, Shore to a certain point. But this guy is playing and shooting like a scorer. And that's something you can't, like, it's found gold, as you just talked about. It's a really important element for us to identify, because it's a guy that, what is that, his sixth goal? And I want to say 20 some games, buddy. Is he 20?
Yeah. No, he's got 7, I think now. 6 and 7.
7? Okay, 7 goals and how many? 20, 25, 20, somewhere in there?
Let me check here. But your point is well made, though. Like he is 27 games tonight.
Yeah, so 20. So I mean, that's over. Like, I don't want to get too excited, but that's over a 15 goal pace, right? So that's exactly what they're looking for. And I'll put Yamamoto in that group as well, of previous players. And that's not to say that those guys can't do it. It's just that they haven't done it this year so far. So pretty impressive what he's done, especially when he wasn't even on anyone's radar to start, a month into the season.
Well, he had to work his way up, right? Like, so he gets traded, fresh look with an organization, starts in the American Hockey League. I remember when the trade happened, we were like, oh, okay, guy was a first-round pick at one point. And, it'd be interesting to see what happens here. And he worked his way up the lineup in Baco, and then he worked his way into a recall opportunity, top of the list, right? There's a whole group of guys that would love to have gotten that recall. And then he works his way from, being up with the team but not playing to playing, and then on a fourth line and a third line, and all of a sudden he's producing and gets into that scrap against Cassie, and everybody went, oh, what the heck was that? What did we just see?
Yeah.
And now he's doing what he's doing. So good for him. Found money for the team, but he's earned this opportunity, and he's done it in 10 minutes of ice time a night, which is impressive. 15-17 tonight. Yeah, they were looking to get him that Hattie, Struds. That's like an unspoken thing, but to me, that's a sign that a team's kind of functioning well. Everybody wanted to see him get that Hattie, including the coach.
Yeah, he's obviously likable. They're putting him in places. A chance to get it on the power play at the end, and I like that. And if you're the guy that gets bumped off the power play, like, yeah, whatever. Like, this is his night. This is his moment, because they all know that if they can have this guy become a legit, player for their team, it's huge. It's absolutely huge for them. So Draisaitl and Connor, they get it.
Built for the playoffs. Like, the speed isn't going to bother him in the playoffs, and the added physicality isn't going to bother him in the playoffs. So I don't view this as a skill set that has the risk of disappearing come playoff time. And that's meaningful. In fact, I might submit to you that we could see some of his best hockey if he gets a chance to apply these skills in the postseason. So it'll be interesting to see. Dylan Holloway. So he gets a look here on the top line. He ends up with 14 minutes and 38 seconds of ice time. Some nice opportunity. Scores. You talk about a goal scorer's goal. I really liked the aggressiveness with which he hopped into that spot, steadied himself, and got himself ready, and then buried that thing.
Yeah. So a lot of times goal scoring isn't just about the shot. It's about when to arrive in the space to get the shot off. And, I'm not sure, Connor obviously must have seen him there, or that he was going to go there, but he jumps in there, catches and shoots. Boom, boom, boom. It was so quick. No one even had a chance to react. And to me, that is a significant moment for him with Connor, because Connor's like, okay, when I get this guy the puck, he's going to score. right? And I think at time trust is a big issue when you're giving the puck up when you have it on your stick.
Some of the comments are coming in just a touch delayed because I'm getting them on the stream, which is a little behind me
Right.
here in real time. Stony Oil reminds us Kleem passed through waivers a couple of days before the trade. So he had to clear waivers in order for that trade to happen, and reminds us of that. So every team passed on him based on whatever their scouting reports were. Back to Holloway. I know there's been a hesitation to play him up in the lineup, and I do understand why. And the points that you made about why you want to be careful with that are very, very fair. But I do think that you got to pay attention to what a player is showing you. And I think it's been a little bit now where Holloway has kind of been nudging his way up. And I think it's good that Jay Woodcroft kind of went ahead and did it anyway, whether there's been hesitation to do it in the past or not. They need guys that can potentially be playmakers and game breakers. They need to involve more guys and have more guys pulling on the rope and put guys in position to succeed. And I think they did that because they know they need guys that can, accomplish things for them. Why not give this high pedigree of player a look there? And I thought it was a decent look tonight.
Yeah. Well, and it's, maybe the right team to start with, if we're going to,
totally fair. Doing that against, Tampa or Toronto or someone is different.
Because you want them to have success, right? You always want to put those young players in a position to have success. And I thought he looked great tonight. He looked very fast, and he often does. But I thought tonight he looked really, really quick out there and going for the puck. I thought his line mate Yamamoto had a good game. Like a couple opportunities there where he stripped the puck off someone and got it, moved it along. So I thought that line was functioning. All the lines are functioning, but specifically to Dylan Holloway, I think it was a perfect night to put him in this situation. I'm guessing you probably don't change much heading into next game. He gets another chance there. And 15 minutes, you get over that 13, 14, 15-minute mark. That's legit. That is legit amount of ice time for a forward to kind of feel his way or feel like he's in a game.
Yeah, and he got out there early and got something done early. And I think that helps with young players. Just gets their legs going, gets their confidence going. Yeah. You accomplish something good early in a game like that, and the sky feels like the limit for guys when they do something like that. Struds, hit up our mentions there. Before the live stream started, I asked some people on Twitter to give us their thoughts on the game, and we'll keep an eye on the live comments that are coming in here too. But we'll remind you, it's the Weiss Johnson mentions, and with 45 years in the business, if you need a new furnace or garage heater, air conditioner, hot water tank, any of those services, Weiss Johnson is the place to go. They've got some really good specials on right now for you as well. No GST on garage heaters, and they got 20% off all in-stock air conditioners when you purchase a furnace. That's Weiss Johnson. You in the mood for the jingle? Should probably roll the jingle.
I love it. I always love the jingle.
We know the jingle. Here's the jingle. Weiss Johnson, hey, okay, what do you got from the Weiss Johnson mentions there?
This is from Artman 101A. West Coast reffing is always an adventure. You never know what you're going to get. Both teams had 3 calls each. How that happens is above my fan grade. And I'm not a guy to really mention or complain about the reffing, but there were some, like, especially at the end, I think that the refs had their car running. And someone had their car running towards the end.
Maybe didn't want to wait for a penalty shot, maybe? Like, were either of those guys in enough, you think? Was it McDavid and who was the other one, Hyman? Where I sort of went, what? That looked like a whack on the hands.
It was unbelievable what was going on. They wanted this game over with. They did not want this thing to go on. They're like, keep it going, keep it moving, keep it moving. Even a couple icings early in the game, I was like, that's not icing. Like, maybe I don't know exactly what icing is anymore, but pretty sure I can recognize an icing. So, it didn't affect the outcome of the game. And, is it game management? Is it just get this thing over with? Maybe. But there's always a risk when you let a lot of different little plays go. The players' anxiety and frustration can grow, and they can get what you have a little bit at the end. A little bit of a, I wouldn't really call that a brawl.
So that was the ref's fault. That whole mess was the ref's fault at the end there.
Well, you got to call things, right? Like, I always thought when you start calling things, it just calms things down. And I'm not talking about throwing guys out of games, but I'm talking about, something that is, like a hooking or a holding, or the one, I can't remember who it was. Was it Fowler that was just two-handing and holding on to, was that Hyman the whole way back to the net like that?
Yeah.
How is that not a call?
Yeah.
And I don't, maybe it wasn't Fowler. I'm not sure, but whoever it was, how was that not a call? So Hyman comes out there pissed off. So now he's coming to get someone and get a pint, not a pint of blood, but a pound of flesh. And then that guy's mad. So it just kind of goes through the whole group, the whole ice time.
He was mad, skating
saying.
around looking for a pint of blood. Like he's like the vampire, right? Zach Hyman, the vampire. Yeah, pick one more comment out of the mentions there. I'll get to this one here. This is from, who is this? Ray Lap. Hey guys, is it me or is Broberg starting to play with poise? Doesn't look rattled ever. Struds, what do you think, man? Are you noticing an impressive level of poise as Ray Lap is?
Yeah, Ray Lap and I are on the same page. I'm getting on the Broberg train, it's not that I wasn't on before. Yeah.
You were just worried about him coming up when he wasn't quite ready and hadn't played quite enough yet. That's right. You were concerned that it would be too much too quick. And in fairness, there have been bumps since he got here, but they're smoothing out. Yeah,
I think I made the comment, like, was it 9 periods or something? Was that?
Yeah, you went
9
off.
Good periods.
You went off. I wish I had the clip here. You're like, oh yeah, sure. Why don't you bring up? And then you started mentioning obscure. I had a good night the other night at men's league. Why don't they say I could? You kind of went off when we suggested, is it time to bring him up? You spouted off a little bit, but it's fine. Like, your point was well made in the moment because he had been injured, hadn't been playing. They were desperate, and it kind of looked like a bit of a desperate thought. Should you bring him up? And like I said, it's been bumpy. But what are you seeing, man?
So I'm seeing poise that I didn't see before, and I've seen a guy who's making plays. The skating's always been there, and I think much like a Kulak, he defends with his feet really well. I don't think he's ever going to be the most physical guy, but he's getting into the right places to defend. But the plays that he's now making on the blue line, specifically with Bouchard, they contributed to a goal tonight. The way that they kind of move the puck around, so it's all very positive, and it's trending in the right direction. And there's a lot of people that are looking that this is the guy you're going to trade for Chychrun. And I'm not going to get into the Chychrun yes or no debate, but just watch Broberg. Like, what can you project in a year, in 2 years, in 4 years, in 5 years? Is he your Chychrun in that time? And I don't know if he has that ceiling offensively, but man, does he skate well, and he takes up a lot of space out there. He seems to be what every team's looking for. So if you are going to trade him, I guess I think he's building a case that there's value there. There's a lot of value there if he is a tradable asset.
This is a tough question, and I'm putting you on the spot, but I'm going to do it anyways. Do you think that Philip Broberg, in what you're seeing right now, in the next 30 math games until the end of the year, can give meaningful minutes in the playoffs this year and potentially next year? We know where the Oilers want to go, and we know how fast and intense the game is when they get there. Final Four. From what you're seeing right now, if you're the Oilers, you're trying to gauge how much might we be able to rely on this guy, because how good a defenseman do you need to go get kind of depends on how much you think you can rely on Broberg. So from what you're seeing, how much do you think they can rely on him in this year's playoffs?
Are you talking as a third pair defenseman?
In the exact role that he's playing right now?
I would say I'd feel much more comfortable saying for next year.
Yeah.
That I think that would be it. I don't. So, you're asking me to say that he's not translucent for this year, so they have to go find someone else. I agree they need to find someone. I've been saying that the whole time.
Yeah.
But I don't want it to be Broberg going out the door.
Yeah.
And honestly, I don't really want it to be Holloway either. So.
Well, guess what, Struds?
I know.
You're going to get something for nothing.
I know. Man, it's hard because the team has to make the playoffs. I agree with that. But, I read an interesting tweet today that if they have to go out to make a trade like this to make the playoffs, is this really the year to go in and trade all these things to get it?
Because if you've seen the Western Conference, this is not the year to miss the playoffs in the West. It's wide open if you can get into the playoffs this year. So yes, it is the answer for me.
So like, okay, well, I'm not sure I'm quite at that level. I think they're going to make the playoffs. I'm at the plan. I do want them to add a left shot defenseman, but what's the price? And so I don't want to really get down this rabbit hole. But anyways,
why? We got till
because
midnight. We're good.
There's really no solution. I don't know that there's an answer that's sitting there clearly. But anyways, I like Broberg, and he's growing on me as we every other night as we watch him play. And I think Oilers fans should start warming up to the fact that this guy is getting there. He's moving towards where maybe they expect him to be to start the year.
Yeah. I said something on the radio today. I can't remember, or maybe it was yesterday. I can't remember which. It was either Greg or the mandate with Nielsen. And when I said it, it kind of jarred me even. We were talking about, I think it was this morning with Nielsen. We were talking about the potential of the Chychrun trade and is it worth it for all the assets and such. And I said, are any one of Broberg, Holloway, or the first round pick in either of the next 2 years going to play like a truly meaningful role in helping the Oilers win a Stanley Cup in the next 3 years? But then what I added to it was potentially Draisaitl's last 3 years as an Oiler, right? You got to remember that Draisaitl has 2 years left after this year. The Oilers have potentially only 3 playoffs left with both McDavid and Draisaitl. I'm sorry if that's painful for Oilers fans to hear and you don't want to talk about that yet, but I mean, it's just reality. So you got 3 kicks at the can with these 2 guys, maybe 2, because if he doesn't re-sign and doesn't re-up, who knows where you go. So when I said, bringing in Chychrun, you get 3 kicks at the can, maybe Draisaitl's last 3 as an Oiler. I just wonder about the sense of urgency to bring in a legit guy that has contract that runs through your window. Hey, sometimes you got to, teams all the time give up really good young players to do things like that. It wouldn't be unheard of.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a fair point.
I know.
It's a fair point. It's.
Jaracel says 3 playoffs left for Draisaitl. They have to be all in. First rounders are in play. So anyway,
this is perfect timely. Let me get to one here. Yep. Sandy Nesbitt says, great view of some youth, energy, and effort. The rest followed the lead. Great team game. I believe Sandy, I've never put words in your mouth, Sandy, but I believe you're talking about Broberg and Holloway.
Oh, yeah. We'll let you put those words in Sandy's mouth. We'll give you that one. Okay, that was the breakdown. Listen, we want to dig in a little bit here on Vincent Desharnais because, what a big night. And I'll ask you for your memories of your first night with what he just went through. But this will be our takeaway segment brought to you by Sherwood Buick GMC. They're just off Baseline Road on the way into Sherwood Park. It's the #1 GMC dealership in all of Canada for 5 years running. The Sierra 1500 is an awesome truck. I have one. They're fantastic. Highly recommend that vehicle. But they have lots more than that too, right? They have all sorts. So whatever your vehicle needs are, strongly recommend you go see Phil and the crew at Sherwood Buick GMC. Vincent Desharnais, 6'6" plus. And his stats line tonight, Struddy. He was 14 minutes and 5 seconds. I said earlier today, my wish for Desharnais tonight is a 3-goal lead for the Oilers because then he'll actually be able to get the beak wet tonight. And he did. So he plays 14 minutes and 5 seconds, some shorthanded time, $113 on the kill, 3 hits he's got credited for here. And I see he's got 1 giveaway. I'll probably knock at least 2 more on there. I think there was 3 by my count. But what did you think?
Yeah, I liked what he did. I wanted to see him play at least 12. I said north of 12 minutes. Anything around 12-minute mark, you're getting into. And I said I just hope he'd get some PK. So he my wishes were more than granted for him.
Yeah.
Because you want to feel you're involved in the game. It looked like he was having a good time. It looked like he was enjoying the moment, which is awesome. And his playmaking really surprised me. I don't remember if I saw him in training camp. I don't, before all hell broke loose, I don't think I have actually ever seen him skate live, or I should say in a game. Well, definitely not live, but in a game. And, his a couple subtle little plays, like to have the confidence to throw it kind of on your backhand to McDavid as he did in that one play.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if that's always going to be there, But the idea that he was making plays to the middle as a 6'7" or almost 6'7" guy, like there are very few Oilers defensemen that hit the center guy, right? Very few. And he did it in his first game, first period. Confidence, right? And a willingness to make that play and the ability to make that play. So I really opened my eyes. I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
I think in my whole career, I didn't pass the middle once, not one time in 700, almost 700 games. So, and that maybe tells you where my skill was at. But I was impressed. I was impressed with him. That I actually liked the penalty he took. He came across and he tried to just,
it was an aggressive penalty. It wasn't like a hook or something like that.
No,
like it was a penalty. Like screw
that.
you. He got physical with a guy, right? Was that his first shift, by the way? Did he literally step onto the ice and take a penalty?
I didn't think it was. I might be wrong, but I don't think it was. But I also really liked like he was going hard into his hits, like to make guys pay the price. So
kind of Nima Linen-esque, right? A little bit there.
Yeah, I liked it. I thought that it was, for his first game, it could not have gone better. I really think that it was a perfect first game for him. The team they're playing, the way the Oilers played, the way he played, very comfortable. I like to see him play again.
I like big guys that seem to be able to move pretty well, right? Because if they're willing to put the time in on their skills and their hands, you really have the potential to turn into a bit of a unicorn, right? So for him, it's going to be the same thing. It's going to be working on the puck skills and all that. Somewhere Marcus Niemelainen is like, are you kidding me with this guy's ice time? Like he comes in and that ends up happening. But I like the way he – go ahead.
No, and that's – Marcus and he are very similar. I don't see there being a big difference between the two guys. One's a lefty, one's a righty. They're both trying to be mashers out there. So for Oilers fans, neither one of these guys is the answer in your top four. Like I believe they'd be bottom pairing defense, which is fine. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that, but I don't believe they're even long term. I have a hard time seeing that happening, being above that.
Yeah. There were a couple of turnovers. So there was the one you talk about, the middle outlet, that worked out great. And then there was the other one that didn't so much. He tried the middle outlet and it's total turnover. Listen, those mistakes are going to happen. And I like the fact that he's willing to try it. And I like the fact that he's thinking it. Those are thinking plays, and sometimes they work and sometimes they don't. The physicality was there. I definitely think he showed that he can skate in this league. And it's just a matter of reps at this point. But a real nice story, like a guy that, man, a few years ago, you're looking at the East Coast League. You're looking at, just to get here, Struds. Like, that's really, really special. In particular for someone who probably multiple times along the way questioned if they would ever be able to be there.
Yeah, 7th round pick. I mean, that you're getting pretty low in the draft, right? And being drafted special. But I don't think the teams are coveting their 7th rounder, saying we got this guy, right?
Yeah.
But he believed in it, and you hear Gene talk about it, read a couple stories about him, and even his press availabilities. He really put the time in, and he worked. And to be honest, when you get near the bottom of a lineup, when I say bottom, when you're in the the bottom pairing or the 3rd or 4th line, or let's go 4th line, 3rd pairing defenseman. A lot of time it's about, how hard are you willing to work? How much harder than everybody else? What are you willing to do away from the rink, away from the bright lights, all that? And it sounds like he did it. And he found a way to make it a reality for himself, but it took a long time. So what was it, a 2016 draft? That's pretty long time.
Yeah, that is a very long time. It's a long journey, and it was cool. Gene interviewed his brother on the broadcast tonight. I thought that was kind of cool too. So anything else from the Weiss Johnson mentions? I'm just taking a look at this. I'm looking at this mess you made with Puljujärvi today.
Yes.
Eddie Steele laughed at your tweet. So
yeah, I appreciate that from Eddie.
I can't say he isn't doing what Edmonton wants him to do. I don't know what that one meant. You got into it a little bit here. It wasn't too bad.
No. Most people took it for what it was. It was funny. It itself. I can't leave that on the sidelines.
All right, buddy. You were even chirping me today. I did a pod with LeBron and Dregs and Johnny, and you were chirping us about our clothes or something. What were you? And look at you. You're wearing a. So you said I tweeted out a link to the podcast, and it just so happens we were all wearing like black hoodies, kind of. And you came at me on Twitter. You're like, oh, if I wear, say, perhaps a black hoodie, could I be on this sometime?
Yeah. Oh.
So I see you're wearing the black hoodie tonight. This is like you've got the uniform on for the national pod, bud.
I went and bought 5 different hoodies to hopefully, when I'm ready, when you're ready for me, I'll be ready.
You keep auditioning on the local pod here. One day you just might make it to the big one.
That show those guys might tweet. Maybe they'll think it's funny.
Yeah. Well, you definitely share that you're kindred spirits when it comes to beating the crap out of me on a podcast. So you got a lot in common with them. All right, my friend. Thanks for doing this. Enjoy the rest of your night, whatever's left of it. And thanks to you for tuning into the live stream here. We really appreciate it. It's kind of fun doing this. So one last comment here. Play La Bamba says, give me some Edmondson, Savard, and Domi going into the playoffs. That is a long to-do list for Ken Holland. He just stripped the cupboards completely bare for a long time. Okay, folks, thanks for your downloads and your subscriptions and playing along here on the live stream. Oilers in action Friday, Saturday. We'll drop more podcasts. I don't know when. We'll figure it out. We'll see when Strud's crazy hockey schedule lets him be available. But look forward to chatting with you again real soon. Struds, have a good night, pal.
You guys too. Talk to you later.